So Beyonce brought us together.
Beyonce brought us together.
She was there, or just
She was experiencing here. Yeah.
I got cocktails.
Look how beautiful.
Right? I tried to do it big. All right, one for you. It's so nice to see you. One for you.
What is this cocktail, man? It is gorgeous.
So this one is kind of like a low ABV. So we've got a bit of tequila, jalapeno, not for the spice, but for the flavor, pineapple, and a little agave as the sweetener. And this is one of my favorites. It's good in the summer, but also if you heat it up, it's almost like a tequila hot toddy. So,
okay. Cheers then, y'all.
And a glass key.
Oh, yeah, let me take a sip. Slow slip. I can have about 10
not
of those.
too much heat, but the flavor from the pepper.
You know, I like when I drink something and it's not too heat forward. Like I've had jalapeno margaritas and I thought I was going to choke.
Yeah. When I make cocktails, I'm trying to marry it with culinary because I believe they're both like hand in hand. I'm sure you understand.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So tell us about you. What do you do?
Yeah. So my name is Chef Manish Patel. I'm with Dava Indian Street Food. We have an Indian restaurant in the South Market District in New Orleans, and we're doing Indian food reimagined. So not your traditional rice and curries, but more on the street food side with, I guess, like a New Orleans twist.
So you know, it's so funny we met because of the Beyonce. So Beyonce brought us together.
Beyonce brought us together.
She was there, or just
She was experiencing here. Yeah.
So we picked a restaurant, and we picked his restaurant, and then
nice.
I didn't even realize that he was the owner. He was making food directly in front of us, and we started talking. And Manish has been there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to taste. Do you have anything we could pair with this?
Yeah, I actually have a lamb burger we just put on the menu.
Ooh.
I'm starving.
We'll take advantage of that.
All right, there we go. This is a lamb burger that we.
Oh, it looks good.
Oh my god, and it's brioche.
It was just good.
It smells so good.
And those are like steak fries, right?
We cut those fries.
Am I
in
being
house.
basic?
You cut the fries in
Steak
house?
fries.
Those called steak fries. You'd be like, no.
Oh my god, it smells so good.
So we pulled inspiration from a lamb kebab.
Okay.
Ooh,
Turn that into a patty.
I love that.
And so here we have brioche bun from Dong Fong. We make our yogurt in house. We hang it so it's super thick. Pickled onions, arugula, lamb burger, and onion pakora on top.
Oh my god, I'm so excited to try that. And you make yogurt and how? I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
I didn't know you can make yogurt.
I think the only thing we don't make would be the buns.
The buns,
In-house,
right? And they're also locally made.
But that's coming from an OG, yeah. So that's like beautiful to pair
Exactly.
that with everything y'all make in house.
And you just added it to the menu.
We just added to the menu.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I'm gonna make sure we're gonna stop by. I know a lot of people who love a lamb burger, and this sounds absolutely amazing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna pass this around, or do we?
You can pass it around. Yeah.
It's like, so how we gonna eat it though?
How we gonna divide it?
Well, I'm just gonna try this fry burger.
Okay. That's cute,
Oh, that's good.
right?
You
That's
put like a
real
little seasoning on
potato.
there.
Yeah,
There's a
we
little meat
have
on
a
there.
house, seasoning salt that we use.
You do house seasoning salt?
Yeah, so it's tons of garlic, curry leaves, cashmere chilies, and salt. Yeah.
It's good. Cheers. This is really good. Cheers.
Oh my god! How many have you eaten of these? Can you count?
No, I can't count that high.
Oh my god!
So you had to do test and test.
We
and
test and test and test, and this gut proves it.
Yeah.
So
So you want to go in for the burger, Deniseea?
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. No, I feel like we should.
I said we could lady in the traffic.
We can lady in the
whatever
traffic.
you're into.
I'm
Fine.
Oh, there's onion rings on here. I was like, I thought those were fries.
yeah, so that's the onion pakora. So we use
That's the onion pakora.
chickpea flour to make the batter.
I was pulling it off. I was like, wait, that's supposed to go there.
So you guys make everything in house, right?
Everything in house, yeah.
So you definitely need clean water for
Definitely
everything
clean
y'all
water.
do. Yeah.
Yes, clean water is definitely a necessity.
I'm so full of flavor.
Your
The
nails
lamb was
match.
cooked Oh, yeah.
That's cute.
And the lamb was cooked perfectly. Excellent.
All right, I'm gonna get it from the
Right.
back.
Isn't that good?
The yogurt.
That
Yogurt
yogurt
makes
that
it,
you
right?
make,
Oh my god.
the fact that you make that yogurt, you can taste the difference.
And you can taste everything marrying together.
Oh yeah.
This is excellent. Excellent. And I'm just saying this because we're filming. Like, this is so good.
It's good as fuck. Yeah, where
You're
you
the
from?
shit.
Where you from?
I'm New Orleans. That's where I'm from.
The fries. The fries are still like great and crispy on the ends and stuff like that.
You can tell that you put thought, not a lot of thought into it. Well, you put a lot of thought, not just that, but that you are making every single aspect of this because you can taste it.
God damn.
There's no Cisco in here. We talked about Cisco. There's no false, product in there. Like, you put love into every single piece. And it shows.
If I'm gonna feed you, I'm gonna feed you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I really, really needed that, and I plan on finishing it, and I'm willing to fight for it. That's the case. But we know that you're a small business owner, big flavors, big ass flavors, so period. So everything's made in-house, so I know the integrity of the water and if it's clean water or not. I know that is big for your business.
Yeah, absolutely. So with the restaurant, we use ice.
Mm-hmm.
For our bar, all of our syrups, our dishwashers use water. We cook with water. We boil all our potatoes in water. So clean water is definitely important for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you feel like you trust the water in your restaurant or in your community?
That's a good question.
So the water that comes into my building is filtered a little extra. So
Oh,
I
good.
trust
I'm
it.
glad that they did that.
I trust it, but overall, there's always boil advisories. There's
Yeah.
all these different water conditions that are happening that don't really know how to react to them.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I think it's, as someone who works in water, even me and my team, we have a really hard time sometimes navigating all of the entities. Most people don't realize, but in just Orleans Parish alone, there's at least 15 different entities that manage water on any given day. So
imagine if there's
Yes.
15, and I'm pretty sure you can relate to this, who do we look to or who do we trust?
it's so sad that we live in a place that's this complicated. That's the problem with living in an old city, right? People, well, not everywhere because there's older cities than New Orleans. But in New Orleans, because it's been so old, there's systems on top of systems on top of systems on top of systems. So most people just think sewage and water board, right? But sewage and water board, first of all, they manage 3 different things. People forget that. They manage drainage, they manage water quality, and they manage sewage. So that's A. So then who manages what? Then it's extended to multiple parties.
Right.
So for water quality, you actually have the city of New Orleans, then you have sewage and water board, which actually is a completely different entity. Most people don't know it's a state-run agency. So it actually does not belong to the city directly. It's in partnership with the city.
Okay.
Then you have LDH. Then you have EPA. Then you have natural resources.
That alphabet, was just. I
The LDH is Louisiana Department of Health. They have to report directly to them. Louisiana Department of Health reports directly to EPA. And then EPA has a whole different swath of people. I'm not even going to get into that. Then you have the river. Remember the saltwater crisis. You have Army Corps of Engineers. You have the ports who manage their sections. You have NOAA, which is like the atmospheric agency, which is basically all waterways. I could go on and on and on. But I don't want to do that to you guys.
But speaking of salt and these French fries, and seasoned so well. But I'm curious, especially since you own the restaurant, how did the salty situation, is what I like to call it, how did it affect you?
So, I sat down with my leadership team and I said, what are we going to do? Do we fill up buckets of water and just hold it to the side? Do we just, bag up all of our ice and just hold it on the side and, for when we need it? And then how long does that last us? Like, what is the procedure during the salt wedge? And how long do we have to serve food? Is it safe? Is it safe to take a shower and wash our hands?
Yeah.
Because I know extra salt on your skin might irritate you, right?
Yeah.
And so all of those factors, can I even open for service?
Yeah. That was the thing that was so scary for me, is knowing how many people almost 1 million people will be impacted by that saltwater crisis. That's a lot of people. That's more than Flint. We often think about, oh my God, Flint lost water. That's triple the amount of people. And then that's multiple parishes, right? So Plaquemines Parish, Orleans Parish, and Jefferson Parish. And potentially other parishes too, because people forget the Atchafalaya Basin was also impacted by the saltwater crisis, which is a whole nother thing. But to your point, my organization has been following the saltwater crisis, and it is a lot of work. I would never recommend a regular resident sit around and try to follow GOSEP, Louisiana Department of Health, Sewage and Water Board, Jefferson Parish Water. It is so complicated.
So at what point do we get the information when it's like, oh shit, you need to stock up on water, save ice, or just stop your water source, period, because our pipes are so old?
So I'm gonna be real with you. That's something. I was on a train coming from my bachelorette trip on the phone with the local water utility and was like, what are you doing to get the information out? And they had zero plans. If it wasn't for us and other nonprofits that were like, you need to get your shit together, I don't think that we would have even had the response that we had today. They had never had this happen. They've never seen this before, and they were scrambling. And it's really unfortunate that they didn't have the information. So to answer your question, I hate to sound like, oh, the Water Collaborative, but us and other nonprofits were the only people putting out consistent information. Still, we're the only people putting out consistent information. And NOLA Ready, I give NOLA Ready props.
Well, the infographics were perfect because it sort of was abbreviated to where you can share the information with everybody because it did. I'm like, okay, do I just get a bunch of bottled water? Right. The reverse osmosis. I know what the fuck that was. And I was like, but it's $400, so this is better than nothing. Yeah. And it lasts longer. But you know what? When I think about it now, and it's like if we fast forward to now, I guess we're like in the clear, kind of. In the clear. But what would we do to prevent or to get ahead of it the next time? And I feel like living in New Orleans for 7 years, I'm not a native, but from what I've learned, it's like, damn, how do we get ahead of a problem or prepare instead of it just being, we've got a celebration or we've got a oh shit moment.
Right.
But how do we just prep and be ready? Because if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready.
Right.
So for the next time there's a salt wedge or a water crisis, what should we do? Should I just save all buckets of water? Because that's not going to last forever. But like, what is the solution and where can I get my information from?
Well, I told first of all, don't save buckets of water. You might die. Because water will eventually grow bacteria if it's sitting idle without it moving. Because that's how you have brain-eating amoebas. Not that you would get brain-eating amoebas from filtered water, but that comes from still water that hasn't been filtrating naturally. Okay. So don't do that because it actually, standing water will create bacteria and mold and actually make you very sick. So bottled water is your best option because it doesn't have any air filtrating through it. So the other thing we talked about is a reverse osmosis system, which most people can't afford, but at least it'll clean out the water. But my biggest concern and our team's biggest concern was lead lines. So the city of New Orleans has thousands and thousands of yards or feet, however you want to say it, of lead lines. And we're an old city. If salt water gets into the lead lines, we're going to have a massive Flint situation. Because most people drink from their faucet, they bathe in that water, you brush your teeth with that water. And most people in New Orleans actually do have a lead line and don't even know it. Lead lines are not even mapped, and Sewage and Water Board actually puts lime in the water to change the pH so you don't know that there's lead in that water. So as long as the pipe doesn't move, you won't know, or as long as something goes in the system, once I say something doesn't go in the system, you'll never know. But if salt gets into a lead line, it could be detrimental to your health, and there's no way to get lead out of your system. So once you have lead poisoning, you have lead poisoning for life, forever. It can never come out of your system. So that's why the issue with Flint is so big, is that thousands of people will always have lead poisoning until they die.
Wow.
Yeah, and if you have lead poisoning, you have to take multiple pills a day to keep living. It's serious. So I actually know the director of Flint Rising, and she takes almost 10 pills a day, every single day of her life.
And that's not vitamins, that's pills.
This is pills to keep living. So when the crisis hit, I was worried about drinking water, but then I was terrified. Tell me, what was your reaction to living through the saltwater crisis that we were in?
Well, fortunately enough, it didn't, come to New Orleans, so we didn't actually have to deal with it just yet. But, I just, like I said, I talked to all of my managers that worked at the restaurants, and we tried to formulate a plan in theory of what we would do. But again, we didn't know what sources we can trust or what information we should, go by.
Yeah.
And so we were just shooting in the dark. What sources should I trust in the future?
Well, there's the easy answer, and then there's the hard answer. So the reality is there are trusted sources at the state level. But even as a nonprofit, trying to read through that data is insane. Even we have to have actual EPA people interpret that data. So that's the hard answer. The easy answer is we're the only organization that is actually interpreting that data for saltwater. The only one right now. I would love for us to have more partners in that. And we have asked for more people, but they've told us the same thing, that it's too difficult. So in terms of water, go to your local nonprofits, go to your local community organizations, whether it's us, there's a bunch of other ones out there. The state is not doing a good enough job. And I'm just put it on record. And we've told them that they're not doing a good enough job. They don't make information accessible. Why? Because they don't want people to ask hard questions.
So basically we've learned that we've got to, moving forward, try to decode what we should do.
Which is not acceptable.
It's not,
It's
but
not.
at least these kind of conversations are happening from, I guess, a civilian, a professional, and a small business owner. What we should do, how we should, or what we should be looking for. I guess that's the answer. What I kind of gather from all of it is if we were to have this information released with the Saints schedule, then maybe we could be up to date.
We could work on that.
Maybe that would help. I'm trying to figure out, that's the only thing I gather from this. I'm glad we survived it, and it could be much worse. I would say that, but I don't want it to get to the worst moment for us.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I hope I gave y'all a little tinkle of hope.
And I'm glad you kept it real, too.
I kept it real. I'm not going to lie to you and say, yeah, girl, just go to the LDH website. I'm not going to make y'all do that.
Well, you know what? The water was clean enough for cocktails, and it's food, so
Cheers. And shout out to that lamburger. It's still on my brain.
Yeah, and the damn seasoning sauce.